Is that not the exact same thing you just said was a second ago, Matthew? Do you see how easy it is for me to just rewind and fast forward to you saying the exact same thing is a fallacy and then repeating it and saying it isn't?
The flaw in logic that Nathan is talking about in this next clip, a begging the question fallacy. If you were trying to prove the Earth is a globe by finding the radius, like this, assume the Earth is a globe, we can calculate a radius, therefore this proves Earth is a globe. No, that's a logical fallacy, a begging the question fallacy. If the Earth is a globe, then we can calculate the radius. That's not a fallacy. It is true that this observation is also consistent with a flat Earth, but Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical, assumed the Earth is a globe, we can calculate a radius, therefore this proves Earth is a globe. No, that's a logical fallacy. That's not a fallacy, that's a logical fallacy. It is true that this observation is also consistent with a flat Earth. However, I'm not lying or using a logical fallacy, but Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical. That's not a fallacy. That's a logical fallacy, a begging the question fallacy.
Boom.
And it would indeed be circular reasoning.
So that's begging the question then. That's what you are. You think what, I'm going to assume that you're not like this around children? No, my friend, I will automatically assume that if you're going to lie to an audience of 500,000 people, that you'll be more willing to do it when it's a small group of children you're educating and indoctrinating with lies and deceitful behaviour like you're demonstrating here.
But no one has ever directly measured the height of Mount Everest by putting a ruler on its side to see its altitude.
But the indirect measurements used a flat baseline and a flat Earth to do so. Yeah, we know. So did the indirect measurements of radius by Al-Biruni. They also used an elevation angle measurement to derive an R value that's indirect, but taken from a flat Earth. So kudos for proving a flat Earth.
But using indirect calculations, that doesn't bother me. I think that's
no such thing. No such thing as indirect measurements. He made that up. No such thing. Citation, please.
Reasonable. Similarly, we cannot directly measure Earth's radius, but we can calculate it. Eratosthenes in ancient Greek is said to have been the first to calculate the size of the Earth with sticks and shadows, as told by Carl Sagan in the original Cosmos series.
I'm glad he's now going to go into how he's going to claim and his vernacular, not mine, he's indirectly measured it. Because it's what he's going to claim the horizon is to indirectly measure is the thing that's going to destroy his own argument. Uncle Bobby, Black Swan. He's about to destroy himself.
It is true that this observation is also consistent with a flat Earth and close local sun, but Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical and that the sun is very far away in order.
So even your extrapolation has got the declaration that it doesn't lend itself to your begging the question of an R value on a spherical Earth then. So I'm going to extrapolate something that does not directly link to being an extrapolative value for R to only being connected to an extrapolative value for R after hijacking flat Earth measurements. That's what he's just done.
Yes, he just pulled the Neil deGrasse, basically saying, yeah, this could also be done in a flat Earth. Well, if it could be done on a flat Earth, that means it doesn't prove it's a globe.
So to be clear, there are two questions here. Question one,
where'd you get the measurement of R?
Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical.
You don't. That was the question I asked. It's all that's relevant when you beg the question continually about radius values that can't be measured, and the only measurement you've cited it also could infer a flat Earth.
It is true that this observation is also consistent with a flat Earth.
I'm going to take it as read that my assumption of a sphere Earth, the very objection of the begging the question fallacy we objected to initially, is perfectly sound. Because no measurements. My very objection.
Is the Earth a globe? And then
No. Have you got a measurement to prove it? Not is it? Not are you going to beg the question? We know damn well you will. Yeah, because you're a fundamentalist zealot. So you automatically assume the answer to this question. We know. And you've told us how you do it. with measurements that, well, it could be a flat Earth, but I'm going to take them to be spherical.
But Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical. Then, question 2, if it is a globe.
If it's a globe, you've already asked that in question 1. So what, assuming that it is?
Assume that the Earth is spherical, what's its radius?
No, we would need to take measurements, and we wouldn't assume it in the first instance when the only thing you've cited doesn't directly prove that you've got a radial value measurable.
It is true that this observation is also consistent with the flat Earth.
So this is just begging the question on steroids.
Flat Earthers complain that this is a
Begging the question fallacy on steroids. Let's see if his stereotyping fallacy is correct.
begging the question fallacy.
Boom.
And it would indeed be circular reasoning.
So that's begging the question then. So far, 3 for 3, Nathan's been right 3 times. Yeah, no wonder you're burying this on your crap channel.
If you were trying to prove the Earth is a globe by finding the radius, like this. Assume the Earth is a globe, we can calculate a radius, therefore this proves Earth is a globe. No, that's...
No, absolutely not. But yet you've just taken the last 11 minutes to do exactly that then. So, what, you're going to point out your fallacious reasoning like it's an argument in your defence? Yeah, we get numpties doing that here live, Matthew, where they literally think throwing back our argument at us is somehow going to be a defence for them. So I point out that you're using fallacious reasoning, that's a circular argument, begging the question. And you just point out the begging the question and say no at the end of it. That's right, no, you wouldn't be using this fallacious logic, but you have. That's exactly what you did. But getting to it after you've used it...
That's a logical fallacy.
Correct.
However, that's...
No, there is no however once you employ fallacious reasoning. Yeah, this is what a shyster does. I know it's a fallacy, but... Is that how it works? Yeah, it's fallacious reasoning, but a fallacy's better than nothing. Right, Matthew? But there's no but after you point out it's a fallacy. That's the end. It makes your argument void. I mean, do you not understand how fallacious reasoning works? At the point it's highlighted to be fallacious, there's no but.
It's not what Eratosthenes was doing, but Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical.
Yeah, he was. He was assuming Earth's a sphere.
Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical.
But that's not what he was doing,
you know,
even though there's 2 outcomes. One of them assumes a sphere, and that's what I'm going to use, and that's what he did. But that's not what he was doing. Shyster.
it's good to show that he's absolutely willing to do that, to commit a fallacy, call out his own fallacy, and then keep going.
He wasn't trying to prove that the Earth is a globe. Eratosthenes assumed that the Earth is spherical, just calculating its size, its radius.
That he assumed was spherical. Let's just ignore the fact that he's assumed it's spherical to measure its sphericity.
That's not a fallacy. That's a logical fallacy.
And say he's not assuming it, he's just calculating it. That makes it all good. It's not a fallacy anymore if I word it like this.
That's not a fallacy. That's a logical fallacy.
You should be sacked. You are going out of your way to defend the fallacious reasoning you've just literally laid down the explanation of. So if I assume it's a globe and then I calculate it as a globe, that makes it a globe. No, but he wasn't doing that. He just calculated it as a globe. So if I don't say the first bit, it's not begging the question. What a shyster. Should be sacked. This is what you'll do when you're not educating the kiddies. You'll be going out of your way to deceive them with fallacious reasoning. But then what will you do if that's pointed out by one of the kiddies? You'll point out how it's a fallacy, labour the point of the fallacy, and then just lob off the first assumption and have the conclusion of the assumption stated as though it's not a fallacy.
Radius. So it's not a fallacy.
It is absolutely a fallacy, Matthew. You just explained how it was a fallacy, literally only 30 seconds earlier. And because of that, after your declaration that it's not a fallacy, I'll give you explaining how it is.
By finding the radius, like this. Assume the Earth is a globe, we can calculate a radius, therefore this proves Earth is a globe. No.
So there's Matthew explaining why it was a fallacy. Do you see why I call him a deceitful shyster and say he should be sacked?
That's a logical fallacy. How?
Correct, Matthew. The one you're employing but then later explaining that it isn't? 30 seconds later.
Think there is a radius. If the Earth is a globe, then we can calculate the radius. That's not a fallacy.
Is that not the exact same thing you just said was a second ago, Matthew? Do you see how easy it is for me to just rewind and fast forward to you saying the exact same thing is a fallacy and then repeating it and saying it isn't? Yeah, you should be sacked. Should be sacked.
This is the,
Fired.
this
Sacked.
is the
Removed from your job.
2023.
No longer tolerated as an educator. Am I labouring this point enough for you, Matthew? Did you think that this defence on your shitty channel no one was watching was going to get around the fact that I'd said you should be fired for what you've done and what you are doing and what you are perpetuating here and how you're lying about what is a fallacy and then declaring the same thing as not being a fallacy? Yeah? Sack him. It's just that simple.
But that's
This
the
is the
so-called
2023 version of we do have a geometric horizon. We don't have a geometric horizon.
flaw in logic that Nathan is talking about in this next clip.
No, you were talking about it. I rewound your own words and got you to say it, Matthew. So while you put my words in air quotes, no, they were your words on this occasion. You described the fallacy to us and then said, no, that would be a fallacy. Straight after you used the exact same words to say it wasn't. I will berate you for your use of logical fallacy. I'll do it now. You should be sacked. People should be contacting this man's employer and telling them to sack him because of what a deceitful shyster he is. So yeah, I will berate you, Matthew, while you've got that just been slapped around the face look on your face. Yeah, I'll do it now. To lie to children when you... That's right, you lie to children. Educate them about the sphere belief that you have based on flaws in logic. Yeah, you just detailed them, Matthew. You just went through the circular reasoning that you've employed. Why are you nodding no? Now, I don't see it as reasonable to lie to children about your assumption. You do, shrug of the shoulders. Perfectly reasonable, according to Matthew. The fact that I don't see it as reasonable gets a shoulder shrug from this scumbag. What a bloody outrage. Based on flaws in logic. Yeah, that's not reasonable. Do you understand my disdain for you and my justification for calling you scum when you justified lying to children based on a flaw in logic?
Yes, I understand your disdain if that's what you think I'm doing.
No, it is what you're doing. You just went through how it was a logical fallacy, how it was circular reasoning, how it was begging the question, then you agreed with that fact.
That's a logical fallacy.
That is what you are doing.
Of course, I am also against lying to children. I'm against using flaws in logic. In fact,
well, we can only take you at your character and what you do. I will know you by your fruit. This is you. You are this deceitful shyster. That's what you are. You think what, I'm going to assume that you're not like this around children? No, my friend, I will automatically assume that if you're going to lie to an audience of 500,000 people, that you'll be more willing to do it when it's a small group of children you're educating and indoctrinating with lies and deceitful behaviour like you're demonstrating here.
in fact, I want to teach students how to recognize logical fallacies.
Well, you did. You managed to employ one. Demonstrate to an audience, my audience, not your tiny little audience that you put this out to, how that is a fallacy because you don't have a measurement. And you've used circular reasoning to come to the conclusion. You've also declared how the indirect measurement is in no way affirmable as being spherical only. It could also be flat. So this is absolutely a flaw in logic. It's a logical fallacy. You have highlighted it.
However, I'm not lying or using a logical fallacy.
You're doing both. I've demonstrated it. I rewound the exact same words with you pointing it out as a fallacy straight after you'd used it as a fallacy. I used your own words to prove how big a liar you are.
When I teach students how Eratosthenes calculated Earth's radius.
No. Did you also tell them how it could also be done on a flat Earth? Let's see if he adds that to that. No, you are doing that. So he didn't also tell them, like he told us just a moment ago, that it doesn't infer sphericity only. He only tells them it's how he calculated Earth's radius. So he didn't give them the full story. So you lied by omission, at the very least. You are a liar by omission, then. Because you've just disclaimed that fact. But what did you tell the kiddies again? Was it about how it could also infer flatness and small and local sun? Now, we wouldn't state that, but you did. Did you tell the kiddies?
Fallacies. However, I'm not lying or using a logical fallacy when I teach students how Eratosthenes calculated Earth's radius.
No, you are doing that. So you didn't tell him about its flatness. Just how it was a calculation of Earth's radius, even though it could have been inferred to be flat, with a local sun and elevation angle measurements thereof. Yeah, you'd have to, because you're talking about angle measurements, my friend. But it did beg the question. It assumed Earth's a sphere, then calculated as a sphere to declare that it was a sphere, like you said. But you're only telling them that it's a calculation for a sphere. So you lied by omission. Facts. Yeah? More than willing to ask for you to be fired as a result of your lies by omission to children. You're willing to tell this small audience how it also infers flatness, but not the children who are being told it's only a calculation for sphericity. That's a logical fallacy. You pointed it out to us. Should be sacked. Simple.
Radius. So it's not a fallacy.
It is absolutely a fallacy, Matthew. You just explained how it was a fallacy, literally only 30 seconds earlier. And because of that, after your declaration that it's not a fallacy, I'll give you explaining how it is.
By finding the radius, like this. Assume the Earth is a globe, we can calculate a radius, therefore this proves Earth is a globe. No.
So there's Matthew explaining why it was a fallacy.